Ravi looked out from the window of the small space shuttle. Stars floated like quiet lights in the endless black sky. He was part of the human exploration team sent to find peaceful planets. In deep space, his team was not searching for war or control. They were searching for understanding, for friendship, for peace. The mission had started smoothly. The team had traveled for many months. They found empty planets, some full of rocks, others with simple life. Then, something changed. Power levels dropping, shouted a voice from the control deck. Ravi stood up quickly. The lights on the ship blinked red. The engines made a strange sound, like a deep breath before silence. "We're going down," said another team member. "There's a planet nearby. We're being pulled by its gravity." The ship shook. Ravi fell back into his seat and held the safety bar tight. The stars outside moved fast. The planet below was green and blue, with small white clouds and soft lands. It didn't look dangerous, but the landing wasn't soft. With a loud crash, the ship hit the edge of a forest. Trees broke, metal bent, smoke rose, everything turned black. When Ravi opened his eyes, he felt warmth on his face, sunlight. But it wasn't Earth's sun. The sky was slightly purple, and the light had a calm, golden glow. His body felt light, like he was floating. He sat up slowly. He was no longer in the ship. He was lying on a soft white bed in a round room made of clear crystal. Light passed through the walls gently, and small flying lights, like butterflies, moved through the air. He touched his arm. No pain. His clothes had been cleaned. A soft, green cloth had been wrapped around his injury. Then, he heard footsteps, light, careful steps. Someone entered the room. She was tall, almost as tall as him. Her skin was a soft green, her hair long and silver, and her eyes shone like stars. She wore a flowing white and blue robe. She looked at him with curiosity, not fear. "You are awake," she said. Her voice was soft, like wind moving through leaves. Where am I?" Ravi asked. "You are on Serena," she said. "I found you near the forest edge. Your ship was broken." Ravi tried to stand. "My team, others like me." "Were there others?" The woman nodded gently. "Two of your kind were found. They are safe. Our healers are helping them." Ravi let out a deep breath. "Thank you. I don't know what happened." The woman stepped closer. "I am Nira, daughter of the Empress of Serena." He looked at her, surprised. "You're a princess." She smiled lightly. "Yes, and you are human. I have read about humans in the old records, but I never thought I would see one." Ravi gave a small smile. "I'm Ravi. I'm just an explorer." Nira sat near him on a round seat made of soft vines. "Tell me, Ravi, why do humans travel so far from their world?" He thought for a moment. "Because we want to learn. We want to meet others. We don't want to be alone in the universe." Nira tilted her head. "Do humans feel lonely often?" "Yes," Ravi said. "Even when we're around others. Sometimes. We want someone to just sit with us, to understand us." Nira looked down. "We Serenians are taught not to show feelings. Our minds are trained to think clearly, without emotion. But sometimes, I wonder what it would feel like to care, to laugh, to cry." Ravi looked at her gently. "Maybe it's not a weakness to feel. Maybe it's what makes us stronger." She looked at him, and for a moment, her eyes were full of wonder. In the days that followed, Ravi stayed in the healing palace. The Serenians used light and sound to heal wounds. No machines, no wires, just the soft hum of music and glowing energy. Nira visited often. She brought him books made of shining pages. She asked questions about Earth, about music, about food, about stories. She wanted to know everything about humans. Ravi shared stories of Earth's oceans, of mountain winds, of the way children laughed. Nira listened like a child hearing a bedtime tale. She showed him her world too. They walked in gardens that floated above water, with flowers that sang soft notes. They sat by lakes that reflected stars even in the day. Serena was full of peace. But Ravi also noticed something else: silence. The people spoke very little. They bowed, worked, moved quietly. No one laughed, no one danced, no one hugged. One evening, as they sat near a tree that glowed with silver leaves, Ravi asked, Do your people ever say, I love you? Nira looked up at the tree. That word does not exist in our language. We use we are one when we mean something strong. But I like your word more. Ravi smiled. Love means wanting someone to be happy. Even if you're far away, it means you care more about them than yourself. Nira looked at him. And do humans love often? We try, Ravi said. But it's not always easy. She touched one of the silver leaves. I think I would like to try. That night, as Ravi lay in his crystal room, he looked out at the sky. Two moons floated above, soft and silent. He thought about Earth, his family, his team. But he also thought about Nira, about her kind eyes, her curious questions, the way she listened. Something was changing, not just in him but maybe in her too. And deep in his heart, he felt it. This planet wasn't just another stop in space. This was something else. A beginning. The sun rose gently over Serena, spreading golden light across the crystal towers and peaceful gardens. Birds with glowing wings flew in quiet patterns above the trees. The palace of Serena stood like a dream, tall, clear, and beautiful, with vines of silver growing along its walls. Ravi stood near a wide balcony, dressed in soft clothes given to him by the Serenians. They were simple and light, the cloth smooth like water. He had never seen a place so calm. Even the air smelled sweet. He looked out over the gardens. Pools of still water reflected the sky. Floating flowers drifted slowly, like they were asleep. He was still trying to believe that all of this was real. Soon, gentle footsteps came behind him. You are awake early, said a soft voice. He turned. It was Princess Nira. She wore a long white robe with soft blue patterns, her silver hair flowing behind her like light and water. I couldn't sleep much, Ravi said. It's all still so new. Nira walked beside him and looked at the gardens. Serena is not like Earth. I know, but I hope you find peace here, Ravi nodded. It's beautiful, but also quiet. Very quiet. She gave a small smile. That is our way. We speak only when needed. Words are like light, we do not waste them. Ravi laughed lightly. On Earth, people talk all the time, even when they don't need to. Nira turned to him. I want to show you more of our palace. You are well now. You can walk. They walked down long halls made of glowing stone. The floors felt warm under their feet. The walls held carving stories of the Serenian past. Ravi stopped to look at one. It showed a figure standing in front of a large group, holding up a star in both hands. That is the first empress, Nira said. She brought our people together without war. She believed in wisdom and patience. She sounds strong, Ravi said. She was, Nira replied. But she also had no partner. She said a ruler must walk alone to stay clear. Ravi looked at her. Do all your leaders walk alone? Yes, she said softly, even my mother. They entered a wide room with a glass roof. Sunlight poured in. In the center was a pool with silver water, and around it were small seats, shaped like open petals. This is the room of reflection, Nira said. Here, we think, we listen. We do not speak, even if you're not alone. Ravi asked. Nira nodded. Even then, thoughts must be calm before they are shared. Ravi sat by the pool. He looked at the still water. His own face looked back at him, quiet and unsure. I think too much sometimes, he said. Earth people worry a lot. She sat beside him. I've been told your people feel more than we do. Maybe, Ravi said. We laugh, we cry, we love. But we also fight and hurt each other. Not always, but sometimes. Still, Nira said, I find your way, full of color. He looked at her. Don't you feel things? Nira, even if your people don't show it. She lowered her eyes. Sometimes I feel too much, but I hide it. They say emotion is a crack in the mind. A ruler must be whole. Ravi shook his head slowly. Maybe emotion is the light in the crack. Later, Nira took him to a garden where plants moved when touched. Leaves curled gently around their fingers. Small fruits grew like stars, glowing. White and gold. Ravi picked one and looked at it. Can I eat it? Nira smiled. Yes, but it will show you a memory. A memory? She nodded. Our fruits carry the energy of moments, soft ones, Try it. Ravi bit the fruit. It melted on his tongue like honey. Then, for a moment, his mind was filled with an image. A young child running through these same gardens, laughing. The child looked up and saw the Empress watching. The child smiled brightly. Then the image faded. Ravi looked at Neera. Was that you? She nodded, her eyes soft. That was before I began my training to become a leader. You look so happy. Ravi said, she whispered. But I was also free. As the day ended, the sky turned a soft violet. Stars began to appear slow, shining and close. Serena's sky made Earth's sky feel far away. Ravi and Neera sat on the high terrace, watching the stars. Do you miss Earth? She asked. I do, he said. But I don't want to leave yet. Neera looked down. I don't want you to leave either. He turned to her, surprised. She continued, You are different from everyone I've known. You ask questions, you listen, you feel deeply, and you make me feel too. Ravi smiled. That's just being human. She looked at him with her glowing eyes. Then maybe, I wish I was a little human. He looked up at the sky. Maybe humans and Serenians are not so different. We both look at the stars and dream. They sat in silence for a while. Then Neera said, Ravi, if you were given a choice to return to Earth or to stay here, what would you choose? Ravi didn't answer. Not yet, but the question stayed in his heart. The next morning on Serena began with a soft sky, colored like pale gold and lavender. The light did not burn like Earth's sun. It warmed the skin gently. Like the soft touch of a friend, Ravi stood near a floating bridge that curved over a clear river. The water below glowed faintly, filled with small silver fish that swam slowly in smooth lines. His mind was full of thoughts. He couldn't stop thinking about what Neera had asked the night before. If you were given a choice, what would you choose? He had no answer yet. Just then, Neera arrived, holding something in her hand. It looked like a small round crystal. What's that? Ravi asked. A sky mirror, she said. We use it to see the stars in the day. She gave it to him. Ravi looked through the crystal. The sky changed. Now, even under sunlight, stars appeared bright, calm, and countless. It's beautiful, Ravi said. Neera smiled. There's more I want to show you today. Come with me. They walked together through the glowing forest, where trees change color when touched. Tiny light birds flew between branches, singing quiet songs. Some of them even flew close to Ravi and sat on his shoulder. They like you, Neera said. Maybe because I'm new. Ravi laughed. No, she said. Because they feel your heart is open? Ravi looked at her. Do you always speak like that? So softly, she paused. It is our way. But when I speak to you, I don't want to hide how I feel. Ravi felt something shift inside. He didn't know if it was joy or something more, but it felt important. They reached a tall hill where the wind moved the grass in waves. At the top stood a giant circle of stones, floating slightly above the ground. Each stone glowed with gentle light. This place is called the Circle of Truth, Neera said. Here, our ancestors used to share their deepest thoughts. Ravi looked around. Do you want to share something? Neera nodded. She placed her hand on one of the stones. It glowed brighter. When I was young, she began, I wanted to be free. I wanted to explore other worlds, not rule one. But I was told my path was already decided. She looked at Ravi. Then you came, and for the first time, I saw a path I hadn't imagined. Ravi stepped forward. I didn't come here to change anything, but meeting you is changing me too. Neera looked down. How? I don't know yet, but I feel more alive here than I ever did floating through space. The wind moved gently around them, as if listening. Later that day, Neera took Ravi to a small building near the palace. It was quiet, hidden behind large trees. This is the place of memory, she said. We keep our dreams here. Dreams? Ravi asked. She nodded. Inside, the room was full of floating orbs. Each one pulsed with soft light. Every person leaves behind a memory when they pass, she said. We do not write books. We remember by feeling. She touched one orb, and it glowed brighter. Suddenly, the air around them filled with an image of an old Serenian playing music in a garden. The music echoed softly, filling the room. Ravi watched, amazed. Do humans keep their memories like this? Nira asked. No, he replied. We have pictures, videos, and stories, but they fade. This feels alive. She turned to him. Would you like to leave a memory here one day? Ravi was quiet for a moment. I don't know, but I think I'd like to remember this moment. That evening, a celebration was held in the palace gardens. It was the Night of Stars, a peaceful event held once every 100 days. The Serenians wore glowing robes. Lanterns floated in the air. The entire garden shined with soft light, like stars had fallen to the ground. Nira gave Ravi a simple robe with silver lines. You don't need to do anything, she said. Just walk beside me. Ravi smiled. I can do that. They walked through the crowd. People bowed gently to Nira. Some looked at Ravi with quiet curiosity, but no fear. Children pointed at him, whispering. He smiled and waved. The music was slow, made with soft instruments that sounded like wind and water. Couples moved together in gentle circles. Do you dance on earth? Nira asked. Sometimes, Ravi said, but we move faster. She held out her hand. Teach me. He took her hand slowly. They moved in a slow rhythm, not quite dancing, just stepping side by side under the lanterns. Her hand was warm in his. Her eyes did not look away. For a moment, there was no Serena, no earth, only two people sharing a heartbeat under the stars. After the celebration, they walked away from the lights. They stood on a quiet balcony facing the sky. The twin moons of Serena glowed above. I felt something tonight, Nira said quietly. Ravi turned to her. I don't have words for it in my language, she continued. But I think humans call it closeness. Ravi took a breath. We call it connection. Or maybe something more. Nira looked up. Do you think it's wrong for me to feel this way? No. Ravi said. I think it's the most right thing I've seen since I arrived. She smiled, but her eyes were full of wonder. Then, if I told you I want you beside me, always, would that make me weak? Ravi gently took her hand. No, it would make you human. They stood like that for a long time, saying nothing more. Above them, stars continued to shine. But deep in the palace, others had noticed. Behind the quiet walls, the Empress of Serena sat on her high seat, watching a glowing orb that showed Ravi and Nira together. One elder beside her spoke softly. Your daughter is changing. The Empress did not answer right away. Then she said, yes, and change is both light and shadow. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were not. The early morning sky over Serena was heavy with quiet clouds. The colors were softer than usual, pale blue and gray. A still wind passed through the gardens. Something felt different. Ravi sat near the riverbank, watching the silverfish swim in their smooth, gentle way. He held a small crystal in his hand, one that Nira had given him. When held to the sun, it showed tiny stars inside. He liked how it reminded him of Earth and Serena both. But his peaceful moment was broken by a low sound, bells ringing from the high towers. It was the sound of a council calling. Nira had told him about it once. The High Council of Serena only met when something important was happening. Ravi stood up quickly, feeling a strange weight in his chest. Just then, a palace messenger arrived. Princess Nira requests your presence. Ravi followed the messenger through quiet halls. Guards stood still, their faces calm but serious. When they reached the council chamber, the large crystal doors opened slowly. Inside was a round hall, full of light. Floating chairs circled the center, where 7 council members sat, wearing long white robes. The Empress sat at the highest point, her face still as stone. Nira stood at the side, wearing her formal royal robe. Her eyes met Ravi's, but she didn't smile. Bring the human forward, the Empress said. Ravi stepped into the center of the chamber. A soft voice spoke. It belonged to the Elder of Logic. You are the one called Ravi, a visitor from Earth. Yes. Ravi replied, standing tall. I came by accident, but I have no harm in my heart. Another elder spoke, the Elder of Order. You have spent many days close to our future ruler. Too close, Ravi's eyebrows lowered slightly. We have talked, walked, and shared stories. That is all. But emotions are strong, said the Elder of Silence, and emotions are dangerous for a leader. Nira stepped forward. He has done nothing wrong. I chose to spend time with him. The Empress raised her hand. Nira stopped. This meeting is not to judge him, the Empress said, but to ask a question: can a human stand beside one who is destined to rule Serena? The words dropped like stones in the room. Everyone was silent. Ravi took a deep breath. Then he spoke clearly. May I say something? The Empress nodded once. Ravi looked at each elder slowly. I come from a world where we are still learning. We make mistakes, but we grow through love, through friendship, and through feeling. Some council members shifted in their seats. I know your people value calm and order. But don't you also value peace and wisdom? We do, said the Elder of Memory. Then allow me to say this, Ravi continued, feeling something doesn't make a leader weak, it makes them understand others better. Nira has taught me about your world. I have never known such peace. But I have also seen her heart. He looked directly at the Empress. She does not want power for herself. She wants to serve your people, and she can lead better if she is not alone. The Empress studied him for a moment. Then she turned to Nira. Do you wish for this human to remain by your side? Nira lifted her head. Yes, I do not say this as a daughter. I say this as the future ruler of Serena. He brings light into spaces we keep dark. Some elders murmured. One of them stood. If this path is taken, it will change the old ways. Perhaps, Nira replied. The old ways must be touched by new light. The Empress stood, her robe flowing like water. This council is complete, she said. The decision is not made today, but it begins now. She walked out, and the elders followed, leaving only Ravi and Nira behind, outside the chamber. Ravi and Nira sat quietly under a vine-covered roof. You spoke bravely, Nira said softly. I just said what was true, Ravi answered. But truth is not always welcome, she said. Not here. Ravi looked at her. Do you regret bringing me here? She shook her head. Never. They sat in silence for a long while. The wind carried soft petals through the air. Later that day, Nira took Ravi to a place she had never shown anyone else, the Chamber of Seeds. This is where every new idea begins, she explained. Seeds of future trees, future gardens, even future thoughts. They entered the quiet room. Thousands of glowing seeds floated in the air, each one held in a glass sphere. One day, Nira said, I want to plant seeds not just for plants, but for change. Ravi watched her carefully. You're not afraid. I am, she said. But I'm more afraid of staying the same. She picked up a golden seed and placed it in Ravi's hand. Plant this in the earth tomorrow, she whispered. It will grow only if your heart is true. Ravi held the seed gently. What kind of tree will it become? She smiled. That depends on you. The next morning, Ravi stood near the edge of the garden with the golden seed in his hand. He knelt down, dug a small hole, and placed the seed gently into the soil. He covered it, pressed the earth down with care, and sat beside it. I don't know what I'm becoming, he said softly, but I know I want to grow beside her. From a distance, Nira watched him. Her heart was full of emotions she had never allowed herself to feel before: hope, fear, joy, and something deeper than all of them died in the far towers. The Empress stood beside a quiet window. The Elder of Memory came to her side. You saw there. Truth, the Elder said. What now? The Empress did not turn. Her voice was quiet. Now we watch. If this human truly belongs here, the planet will tell us. She looked up at the sky. Serena does not lie. The day of the Festival of Light arrived on Serena. It was the most beautiful day Ravi had ever seen on this planet. The sky was clear and bright, painted with soft pinks and blues. The air was full of the scent of blooming silver flowers, and gentle breezes carried the sound of soft music from the palace gardens. Serena's people prepared all day for this festival, which happened once every 10 years. It was a time when everyone came together to celebrate hope, dreams, and peace. Lanterns made of crystal and light floated in the air, ready to be released at night. Ravi stood with Princess Nira near the palace gates. She wore a shimmering blue robe that caught the sunlight like water. Her silver hair shone softly in the breeze. Ravi felt nervous, but excited. "You look beautiful today," Ravi said quietly. Neera smiled. "Thank you, Ravi. Tonight is special. It reminds us of the light." "In the darkest times," Ravi nodded. "On Earth, we also have festivals to remind us to hope." They walked into the palace gardens, where hundreds of Serenians gathered. The gardens were decorated with glowing flowers and crystal pillars. Soft lights floated around like tiny stars. Children laughed and played near the floating fountains. The older people sat in circles, sharing stories and songs. Ravi watched everything carefully, feeling more at home here than ever before. Neera led him to a small pavilion near the center of the garden. There, a table was set with many lanterns, each made of delicate crystal and filled with a small glowing flame. "These lanterns carry our wishes," Neera explained, "when we release them into the sky. They carry our hopes to the stars." Ravi picked up one lantern. It was warm and light in his hands. "What will you wish for?" Neera asked softly. Ravi thought for a moment. I wish I could stay here beside you." Neera's eyes widened slightly. She looked at him with a new light. Before she could speak, a soft chime echoed through the garden. It was the signal to begin the lantern release. Ravi and Neera walked outside into the open space. Hundreds of lanterns rose into the air, carried gently by the warm night breeze. The lights floated up like small stars, moving slowly toward the dark sky. Ravi held Neera's hand tightly. "This is beautiful." Neera nodded, her eyes shining with emotion. It is the moment when the future feels close. The crowd watched silently, their faces full of hope and peace. As the last lanterns disappeared into the sky, a hush fell over the garden. Then a soft voice from the crowd said, "May the light guide us all." The people echoed the words, and the air filled with gentle warmth. Later, Ravi and Neera sat quietly on a small hill, looking up at the glowing sky. The twin moons of Serena shone brightly, surrounded by hundreds of tiny lantern lights still visible far above. Neera leaned her head on Ravi's shoulder. "Thank you for being here tonight." Ravi smiled. "I wouldn't want to be anywhere else." She looked up at the stars. "Do you think your people on Earth would understand what this means?" "I think they would," Ravi said, "because this feeling hope hit is something all beings can share." Neera closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, she spoke softly. "I have a wish to." "What is it?" Ravi asked gently. "To never feel alone again." Ravi turned and looked into her eyes. "You won't be." The peaceful moment was interrupted by a soft rustle. A young Serenian woman approached them. She was one of Neera's close friends. "Princess," she said quietly, "the Empress requests your presence." Neera nodded and stood. "I must go." Ravi stood with her, trying to hide the sudden worry that touched his heart. "Will you come with me?" Neera asked. Ravi smiled. "Always." They walked together toward the palace. Inside the grand hall, the Empress waited in her seat. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. "You and the human have grown closer," the Empress said. "This festival shows your heart clearly." Neera bowed respectfully. "I want him beside me, not just as a visitor, but as my partner in leading Serena." The Empress's gaze did not soften. "Our people have lived by laws and tradition for thousands of years. Love and emotion have no place in ruling." Neera stepped forward, her voice strong. "But they are part of living. They make us better, not weaker." The Empress looked at Ravi next. "Do you understand the weight of this?" Ravi nodded. "I do, and I am ready." The Empress rose slowly. "Then we will see if the future you choose can stand the test ahead." Outside, Ravi and Neera walked through the quiet halls. Neera sighed softly. "My mother is not easy to change." "No," Ravi agreed. "But your words made her listen." Neera smiled. "That gives me hope." They stopped at a window overlooking the gardens. "Do you think your people will accept us?" Neera asked. Ravi looked up at the stars. "Humans have a saying that the brightest stars shine through the darkest nights." Neera touched his hand. "Then maybe our story is just beginning." The morning sun rose slowly over Serena, casting soft light on the crystal palace. The air was calm. But inside Ravi's heart, a storm of thoughts moved quickly. Today was the day his rescue ship from Earth would arrive. Ravi stood on the palace balcony, looking far into the sky. A small silver dot appeared, growing larger and brighter. The rescue ship was coming. He had been here for weeks now, weeks filled with new feelings, new friendships, and a growing bond with Princess Nira. The world he had known felt distant. Like a dream fading with the morning light, Nira came beside him, her silver hair glowing softly in the sun. "The ship is here," Ravi nodded. "They will bring me home." She looked at him with calm eyes. "Do you want to go?" He took a deep breath, unsure of the answer. "I don't know." Nira reached out and took his hand gently. "Whatever you choose, I will respect it." The palace gathered in the great hall to meet the arriving ship. The Empress stood with other leaders, their faces serious but hopeful. Ravi walked through the halls, his heart heavy with the weight of the choice ahead. When the ship landed, the doors opened slowly. Members of his human team stepped out, smiling and relieved. "Ravi," one called. "We thought we lost you." Ravi smiled but felt distant. They welcomed him warmly, but his mind was somewhere else, back in the crystal gardens with Nira. Later, the team celebrated with food and stories. Ravi shared his adventures, but his thoughts kept returning to the palace. That night, Ravi and Nira met in the garden under the twin moons. "I will leave with them tomorrow," Ravi said softly. "I promised." Nira nodded but didn't speak. Instead, she led him to a quiet place where a small tree stood. It was the golden seed Ravi had planted weeks ago. "Look," she said, "the seed has grown." Ravi looked closely. Small leaves shone with a soft light. It was not large yet, but it was strong. "Your heart was true," Nira said. "This tree is a symbol of choice and growth." Ravi reached out and touched the leaves. "I feel like I'm growing too." Nira smiled. "Then tell me, Ravi, if you stay here beside me, what do you think your life will be?" He looked at her. "It will be new, full of challenge, but also full of hope. And if you leave," he sighed, "it will be safe, familiar, but empty." Nira took his hand again. "Your choice will shape not only your life, but the future of both our worlds." The next morning, Ravi stood before the Empress. "You must decide now," she said. "Will you return to Earth or remain on Serena?" Ravi looked into her eyes. "Steady and calm, Empress," he said. "I have learned much here. Your world is beautiful and wise. But what I have learned most is about the strength of connection, about how being beside someone can change everything." He turned to Nira. "I choose to stay. I choose to stand beside her." A silence filled the room. The Empress studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. "Your choice is brave. It breaks tradition, but it may also begin a new path." She stepped aside and motioned for Nira to come forward. "Nira, do you accept Ravi as your partner?" Nira's eyes shone. "I do." The Empress smiled softly. "Then may the light guide you both." Outside, the people of Serena gathered to hear the news. There were whispers and quiet smiles. Ravi felt their eyes, full of hope and wonder. He stood next to Nira on the palace steps. "This is only the beginning," he said to the crowd. "Together, we will learn from each other and grow." Nira took his hand and spoke with clear voice. "Serena and Earth may be far apart, but our hearts are close. We will walk this path together." The crowd cheered softly, a sound full of promise. That night, Ravi and Nira returned to the garden where the golden tree grew, under the shining stars. They stood hand in hand. Ravi whispered, "I don't know what the future holds, but with you, I am ready." Nira smiled, "And with you, I am not alone." The twin moons of Serena glowed above them, soft and bright. The stars around seemed to sing their own song, a song of hope, of love, and of new beginnings. Many suns rose and set on the peaceful planet of Serena after Ravi made his choice to stay. Though he was far from Earth, he never felt alone. Each day brought something new, new words, new customs, new smiles. Most of all, it brought more time with Princess Nira, whose presence had become the heart of his world. The golden tree they planted together was now taller than them both. Its leaves glowed with soft golden light, especially at night. It had become a symbol across the land not just of friendship, but of change inside the palace. The Empress had been watching. She was once unsure about her daughter's path. Now, she saw how strong Nira had become. Nira no longer walked behind others. She stood beside them calm, wise, and kind. Ravi had not made her strong. He had helped her find the strength already inside her. One evening, the Empress called Ravi and Nira into the crystal hall. "You both have walked through change," she said, "and you have not lost your way. I now see that hearts like yours will guide the future." She looked at Ravi and smiled gently. "You came from a world of noise, but you brought peace here. You spoke with truth, not power, and you stayed, not because of duty, but because of love." She turned to Nira. "And you, my daughter, chose your own path not in anger, but with understanding. You are ready." Nira stood tall. "What do you mean, mother?" The Empress stepped forward and placed her hands on Nira's shoulders. "You shall be queen." The announcement spread quickly through Serena. The people gathered in cities, towns, and floating gardens. Crystal bells rang softly in celebration. The coronation ceremony was planned for the next full moon. For the first time in Serena's history, the queen would not stand alone. She would stand beside a human. Ravi, too, was given a role. The council agreed to name him Peace Advisor, someone who could help guide Serena's friendship with Earth and other planets. He didn't carry weapons or lead armies. His power came from listening, learning, and uniting. Still, not everyone accepted this change easily. Some elders whispered behind closed doors. "A human beside the queen? What can he offer?" But others had seen with their own eyes how much Nira had grown, and they had seen the golden tree shining strong every night. On the night of the coronation, the palace glowed with soft light. Blue flowers floated in the air. Music played gently, not loud but deep music that felt like a dream. The sky was clear, and the twin moons rose slowly above the mountains. Nira wore a flowing dress of silver threads and crystals. Her crown was shaped like the stars. She walked through the garden path with steady steps. Beside her, Ravi wore a long robe given to him by the council, simple but elegant, showing his role with pride. At the center of the palace garden, a circle of light waited for them. The Empress stood inside it. "Nira of Serena," she said, "do you accept the crown, the duty, and the path before you?" Nira nodded. "I do." The Empress placed the star-shaped crown on her daughter's head. "Then rise, Queen Nira of Serena." The people cheered softly, their voices like waves in the wind. Then the Empress turned to Ravi. "Ravi of Earth," she said, "do you stand beside this queen not just in peace, but in truth, in joy, and in challenge?" Ravi looked at Nira, his heart full. "I do." "Then rise, Peace Advisor of Serena, and walk beside her in the days to come." After the ceremony, people gathered to watch the sky lanterns. It was an old tradition. Each person lit a small light and released it into the sky with a wish. Ravi and Nira stood at the balcony. Ravi held a lantern in his hands. "What will you wish for?" Nira asked. Ravi smiled. "I already got my wish." He let the lantern go. It floated gently upward, joining hundreds of others, making the sky look like it was full of moving stars. Nira leaned her head on his shoulder. "Serena is changing, but I'm not afraid anymore." "You were never weak," Ravi said. "You just needed to believe in yourself, and you helped me see that," she replied. Weeks passed. Serena began to grow in new ways. With Ravi's help, the first peaceful link with Earth was created. Young humans and Serena students studied side by side. They shared music, language, stories, and hopes. Even the council, once cold and distant, started to soften. They began to listen more to young voices, to foreign ideas, and to each other. One day, Ravi stood before a group of young Serena children. He told them a story from Earth about kindness and courage. After the story, a small child raised a hand and asked, "Can I be like you, even if I'm not from Earth?" Ravi knelt down and smiled. You can be anything as long as your heart is true. Years later, the golden tree in the garden had grown large. Its leaves glowed like sunlight. People came from across the planet to sit under it, to think, to hope, and to dream. They call it the tree of beginning. At its base, a small stone held words carved in both Serena and Earth languages. It read, "Together we chose peace, together we chose love, and together we stand." Nira and Ravi often sat beneath the tree, remembering their journey. "We were strangers once," Nira said, "but now we are one," Ravi replied. And above them, the stars continued to shine, not just as distant lights, but as symbols of all the paths still to be walked side by side.